Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Suzie Q Stamping 3 on Thursday. My name is Sue Sanders, and I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Lake Ozark/Eldon, Missouri. I welcome you here today. I'm glad that all of you have taken out a little bit of time today to come and join me. I hope that you enjoy the cards that we're going to make today. We've got 3 really cute different cards. 2 of them are fun folds, and one is just a layer fold that we're going to use lots of layers on. Before we get started, I do want to show these 3 cards that were made last week by my assistant, Dorothy, while I was gone. And she made these cards, and that winner is Cherie. So congratulations, Cherie, for winning last week's cards. So if you remember to comment, and the more you comment, the more you'll be entered in the drawing to win the 3 cards that are made every week on 3 on Thursday. We're going to start right off. I'm going to apologize if you hear my grand dog, Daisy, chewing really hard on her water buffalo horn. She's in the room with us. Otherwise, she would be just crying and whining. You will also probably hear my other 2 puppies start barking when my husband gets home. I am so glad to be here with you today. I've been kind of hit and miss being here, not being here due to doctor's appointments and all the stuff that life happens. So I do want to mention that there is quite a few things that are on. Hi, Terry. How are you doing? You're getting ready to Uber to LaGuardia. Well, isn't that exciting? I hope the weather is nice for you. Have a safe trip and hope to see you very soon when you get back into Missouri. There are quite a few things that are on the unorderable list right now. We are posting those. A couple of the products that I am using today are on the unorderable, but they will be in either at the end of March or the beginning of May. Someone's having a hard time reading my writing.
Lighthouse
Point.
bundle.
Yes. Okay. When I designed these cards, the product was in, and they are not in anymore right now, but they will be coming back. The one thing that I'm not sure that we are out of, and if it will be coming back or not, is the loose frosted dots, because that was an online exclusive. I'm assuming that those will be coming back in, but I'm not positively sure. But you can use whatever embellishments that you want for the cards today. So enough of the chit chat. Let's get on with our first card. And I just dropped something, and Miss Daisy's decided that she needs to check it out. All right, so I wanted to make a masculine card. However, this card doesn't have to be just for a man. It can be also for a woman. So here is the card, and it's a faux step card. So then when it stands up like this. There is a spot in the center that you can write a greeting and sign your name to it. This is using the By the Bay paper. And so let's get started here. We're going to set my example over here. And it's also using the Lighthouse Point bundle, which has the stamp set and the dies. We're also using the stylish shape dies, and we are using the 2 biggest ones. So the way I have mine numbered is this would be the number 1, and then this would be the number 2 largest dies. And I've already got those things cut out for us so that I didn't have to take the time out to do that. We're also going to be using, and I don't know where I got it from, the label, but you could use a label that is in here. I don't remember where I got the label from, that I've got my happy birthday on. Like I said, I designed this card several weeks ago and then didn't get a chance to show it because I wasn't doing 3 on Thursdays. All right. So this one, we do have several stamp sets that we're going to be using, but we're only using like 1, maybe 2 stamps out of the sets. So set that, my bits aside. So for the lighthouse point, we're going to use the lighthouse and then the lighthouse detail and then the little light shining thing in the lighthouse. So that's what we're going to be using from that stamp set. And then we're going to be using the die to cut out the lighthouse. Okay. Then this one here, the Waves of Inspiration, we're using the little bird, the seagull. Okay. So like I said, we've got like 1, maybe 2 stamps out of stamp sets that we're using. Out of the go-to greetings is the happy birthday. And I know I have mentioned this before, but ladies, if you don't have this set, I would definitely recommend it. I have used the happy birthday, the thinking of you in all these different fonts. I love the hello and just the note. Get this stamp set. I know that we're going to be changing catalogs here pretty soon. My light is giving me a really bad glare. Let me see if I can tone it down a little bit. It's still giving me glare, but maybe it's not quite as bad. Okay, so do get this before it leaves the catalog. And then out of the peaceful moments is I'm using the wishing you every happiness the special day will bring, because that kind of goes for both male and female. And then from the Seaside Bay stamp set, I'm using the sand stamp as well as the little conch shell here for the inside. So like I said, we're using several different stamps, but it's only using 1 or 2 out of each set. Okay, so let me get our pieces out here. This I've already got cut out of By the Bay paper, and it is different than what I have here, simply because I had used some of this, and so this was just kind of like a scrap piece, and so then this was die cut, but it will work. And then I have the next circle die cut out of the navy blue. I already have our happy birthday stamped, and I do not for the life of me remember, ladies, what label tag this is out of from which die set, and I apologize for that. Okay, now on to, and you need, this is a scrap piece, and I've already done this. I've already die cut it because this is die cut from the By the Bay or the Seaside Bay bundle, and this is like a little sand mound, and all I did was I stamped Sahara sand with Sahara sand ink and then die cut it, and we're going to just kind of cut around it, and I'll show you how we're going to do that, because you can embellish this however you want to do this. Now I did use my Stamparatus, so we're going to go ahead and stamp our lighthouse. And when I usually use my Stamparatus, I usually put a stamp set underneath my, yeah, it's escaped me, this plastic piece here, so that I get a firm stamping of my ink. I've already got it set up on my Stamparatus, and of course I just stamped that in the wrong ink. So let me clean that off. Silly me. Let me get a baby wipe here, since I used a lot of ink to try to get it inked up good. That is supposed to be done in gray granite, not Night of Navy. Night of Navy is my top layer. Okay, let's start this all over again. So with my gray granite, we are going to ink up our lighthouse background. And you might have to really condition your stamps to get a nice, clean image. I have got my paper set up at the 1 inch at the top, and then I set up my lighthouse kind of in the center, and you can use a smaller piece. I just had these scraps of white, and so I thought I'm going to use them. So I'm really giving that a good rub. So there is our lighthouse, and it does give like a little shadow type stuff. And I could go ahead and go back and restamp this, which is what is good about the Stamparatus, is that if you don't like the image, then as long as you don't move your paper, you can restamp it. Okay, so that's good enough for me. We're gonna turn our platform around now, and I have it set up to do our blue, our navy blue details. And this is one that is not orderable at the time. The lighthouse point. No, it's low inventory. It's low inventory. So if you like this set, the lighthouse point, don't wait to order it, because it will be going out at the end of April. And things right now, as they go out, they may or may not be restocked if they're on low inventory. But I really like this lighthouse set. Okay, so there is our lighthouse now. Clean that off. We're done with our Stamparatus. The only other thing that we have to stamp now on this is our little light in the top of the lighthouse. Okay, and for this I'm using crushed curry. And I don't really think it matters which direction you put this. I just kind of put it over that little top there so that it kind of shows yellow in that top. And by the magic of television, I already have our lighthouse die cut for us so that we didn't have to take time out to do that. Okay, this was the stamp that I used to do on the to make my sand for my die, or for my lighthouse. Okay, so we're done with that stamp set. Now let's put this card together. You are going to need a piece of Night of Navy that measures 4 1/4 by 9 inches. So it's 4 1/4 by 9. You are going to score that at 1 1/4 inches. So that's 1 1/4 inches there. And then you're going to score it again at, I'm looking at my notes, 2 1/2. And then again at 5 3/4. Okay. And you're going to score that along the 8 1/2 inch side. Okay. Or the 9 inch side. I'm sorry, the 9 inch side. So you've cut it off. It would be, boy, my hands have already turned blue. I am such a messy stamper.
Killed a Smurf.
I killed a Smurf. All right, so that is our base card. Now you need to have a piece of Night of Navy that measures 11 inches by 2 1/4 inches. So it's 2 1/4 by 11. Scoot it up, I'm sorry. 11 inches by 2 1/4, and you're going to score that at 5 1/2. So you'll have a piece that looks like that. You are going to have a piece of white that measures, and I've got this all wrote down, but it's just as easy for me to look at this. 2 inches by 5 1/4 inches, and that's going to lay on our slim Night of Navy. You're going to have 2 pieces that measure 3 by 4. One will go on the inside and one will go on the outside, so you need 2 of those. Then you need a piece of white that measures 4 inches by 1 inch. And then our designer series paper, you need a piece that is 5 inches by 1 3/4 inches, and that's going to lay on top of that long slender piece. A piece that is 3 3/4 by 2 3/4, and that's going to lay on one of those white pieces. And our last piece of DSP is 3/4 by 3 3/4, and that's going to lay here. Now, this card might look very difficult, but it's not. It's really, really simple, ladies. So let's get to making our card. You are going to, first of all, this is going to be where we open the card up at. Okay. This piece here is going to fold up or fold down like that. And so it's going to make it kind of like an accordion. Can you see that? Okay. I think I've got it folded right. Yep. Now my brain isn't working. Yes, I just have to turn it the right direction towards me. All right, so I'll fold it backwards. There we go. All right, so it's going to sit up. We're going to burnish these. Score lines. Okay, so that's kind of how it's going to set up. And then our long piece is going to brace it. Let's go ahead and layer our paper. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to layer our designer series paper onto our white. So how's everybody been doing this week? Have you gotten to do anything fun or exciting? I have not. Many of you know that I took my mom to the emergency room on Tuesday, Monday. I thought it was Tuesday.
Doctor's office. No.
Emergency room on Monday, doctor's office on Wednesday. The doctor thinks she has gout.
Tuesday. I don't know. You took her this week.
Anyway, I've taken her. She's gone back to have another test done today, but my husband took her to do that because her appointment was at 2 o'clock. The doctor feels that she has gout in her hand, and that is why it is so painful and so swollen. But when we were at the ER, they didn't really tell us anything. I was not a happy camper. They were just focusing that it wasn't her heart, and it was like, I told you, it's not her heart. But anytime you go into the emergency room and you say you have pain in your left arm and up in your shoulder and your chest area, they automatically assume it's your heart. It's not her heart. And that's all they looked at. All right, so now we've got all of our designer series paper laid down, except our one last piece here. And this card is so simple and easy to make. It really, really is. And you could use any designer series paper that you chose to use and put any focal image on it. Okay, All right, now let's go ahead and stamp our inside while we have it ready here. Let me get my conch shell out. And I am just doing that in the Night of Navy, as well as the words. So I'm going to stamp my conch shell down here at the bottom. Like so. So, anybody have any big plans for St. Patrick's Day? I am going to be with a group of 3 girls and 3 moms, and we are going to have a lock-in for our American Heritage girls, so we're looking forward to that. I get to go shopping for that. Our theme is shine, so we're going to be playing glow-in-the-dark games and making a glow-in-the-dark project. All right, wishing you every happiness this day will bring. Let's get that stamp out. Like I said, I had these all on blocks, and then wasn't able to do this and had to take them off the blocks. Okay. Let's hope and pray that this goes straight. Yes, it did. Very good. Got it all over the table. Okay. There's Miss Stacy. She's whining. Oh, my husband came home. I'm surprised that the other 2 didn't start barking. All right, now let's adhere this. Oops, let's adhere this to the inside. Okay. Now we're going to assemble the front. We're going to put this piece right here on the back of where our step is going to be at. I remember trying to make step cards, and there was all this measuring and cutting, and oh my goodness, it didn't work for me. So these faux step cards, they give the impression of that wow factor without a whole lot of measuring and all of that. Make me lay it straight. So, okay. Now we're going to take this piece, which is our long piece like this. And we are going to, not yet, we aren't. We are going to take our little skinny piece and we are going to wrap some twine around it. If I can get it picked up here. Okay. And I am just going to lay a little bit of sticky seal right here in the back so that I have something to attach this to when I wrap it around. And that's not what I want to do either, because I want to tie a knot or tie a bow in the front. So I'm going to stick it down like that. And now I have plenty to tie my, no I don't, silly me. I need about 20 inches. There we go. Now I can tie my bow. And you don't want to tie it real tight because you don't want your paper to buckle. So I'm going to use my little tweezers here as my third hand. and hold that tight. And this is just some of the white baker's twine. You could really use any color that you wanted. Come on. I think this is the hardest part for me, especially trying to stay in camera, is tying these little teeny tiny bows. And I know a lot of you have problems with it too. I just sometimes can't grab a hold of it. Well, okay, I have another pair of tweezers here that we're going to use as our third hand. And now I will be able to grab that little tiny piece that I'm wrapping around and tucking in under that. I can go in there with my tweezers and pull it. See there? I love I call them backwards tweezers. But I guess they're really reverse tweezers. So now I'm just going to kind of pull my pieces so that it's a nice, even looking bow. Kind of tight. Now I'm going to pick it up from the back because I don't want the bow there at that place. I want it more towards the side. So there, I've done that, and it's still stuck here on the back. And now I can still kind of play with that bow to make it to where it's not twisted. And I don't want it to be great big loops. So sometimes you just gotta make it know you're the boss. I love bows, but sometimes they do not love me. I'm just going to cut off my tails. Okay, so we got our bow made. All right, now we are going to lay that piece. We're going to open our card up. Get my tweezers out of the way. And we are going to lay that right down here on that first score line. And I am going right over that twine and then I can get that twine back over on itself. Okay. So here is our layer there. Now we're going to take this piece and we are going to lay it right here at the bottom of that piece. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it over so that I can kind of tell where my sticky has to go and not go past that. So I know it's going to go right here. I got a little bit aggressive and have it off the side a little bit. And now I can lay this right down here in the center. Make sure that you get your sticky wrapped around. And I'm going to center it the best that I can. And you don't even have to center this. I mean, it's not imperative that it is centered. Okay. Now we're going to take and we're going to fold up our card like so. And we are going to now attach this back piece. So I know that I'm going to attach it all the way there. So we're going to take and bring it. No, I didn't do that right. Can't put sticky on that part. It has to go on the bottom. And I'm just going to kind of test it out to see how much more I can do. Probably another row, and I'm going to do it right here. And I'm just going to fold that back over on itself. And now we have our faux step card. Now we're going to work on our focal point. The first thing that I'm going to do is, here is our lighthouse. And I'm going to kind of judge where I want my lighthouse to be. Then I'm going to take my Memento Black. No, actually, I think I took my Night of Navy because it's dark enough. And I'm going to make my seagulls. I'm going to stamp out my seagulls. Make sure that you got them flying the right direction. Got a lot on that. I don't want that shadow showing. It's a very tiny stamp, so you want to be careful when you're putting it in the ink. And just tap lightly on it. I still got some. These tiny, tiny stamps, it makes it hard sometimes to not get that yellow. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to stamp one up here. Stamp it again, and I'm going to stamp one here. And then I'm going to stamp another one over here. So there's our seagulls. Okay, now we're going to use dimensionals to put our, somewhere I had dimensionals, I thought. There they are. We're going to put our, and this is just a foam sheet, because if you wanted to, you could take and put a foam sheet on this and have it pop up when you die cut it. But I don't want the, you don't want this part necessarily. See, this is where I had messed up on one. You don't want that to have the adhesive on it for the foam, because it's not going to be stuck to the circle. So I'm going to just put this down here towards the middle of that. And it might need just a little bit more up there towards the top. I kind of used this area here, this area, as my guide as to where it's going to stick above the circle. All right, let's go ahead and attach our two circles together, and I'm just going to use some glue. This paper is so pretty. It's got foils on one side, and then the other is plain. I'm going to put that right there and center that in our large circle. Now I'm going to put our lighthouse kind of in between where I put my seagulls. Okay. Then I took, like I said, I already cut this out, but I cut out a very narrow strip and I put foam adhesive already on the part that I want to use, which has got the little ridges on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick that down, and then after I get it stuck down, then I'm going to cut it off and make it kind of like, and I'm going to have it so that it's down far enough to where you don't really see that white circle. So that's what that looks like. And I'm going to take my sticky scissors, and I'm just going to take, and actually I've got too much sticky on there because that's hanging off way too much on the sides. So I need to take and cut some of that off. You only need just a tiny piece of this. That needs to be stuck down. And then I just took my scissors and I kind of followed the circle around so that it looks like it's grounded on the, and that's got, let me see what I can do to fix this, because it's got that dimensional stuff on both sides. Let's do this. Maybe that's what I thought I had done, but in actuality I didn't. Let's just put a dimensional, and I'm going to use some mini dimensionals. I'm going to use a couple of black dimensionals, the little mini ones. And I'm going to put one on this side, and then we can decide where it's going to go. Over here. Because it's going to kind of go right over to that blue circle. And I'm going to put one over here. Because then we're going to trim off this little bit of excess here. And we're just going to kind of make it our own rock formation, if you will. And I'm going to cut off this little corner there. See there? So now it looks like our lighthouse is sitting on top of the sandhill. So we're all done with our stamping. Now we are going to put this on the front of our card. So again, I'm going to kind of turn it over so that I kind of know where I have to place my adhesive. And you're not going to put it on all the way to the sides because that's not going to be where it's going to stick at. Okay, so there is our piece there. Now we're going to take our happy birthday greeting and we are going to put that up on some dimensionals, and I'm just going to use a strip of my dimensionals. Well, quit sticking to my fingers. And then we're going to center that right there. And I just made sure that my points were lining up with my twine. And there we have our faux step lighthouse card. So let me know what you think about that card, ladies. Very easy. I know that you guys think that they're hard. They're not really hard. It just takes a while for me to explain each step-by-step instruction on it. So let me get this stuff all cleared off and we'll get with our next card. Something that I do want to show you that is one of the online exclusive products right now, and I believe it is on low inventory. The my mind. This, no, elegant border dies. No, okay, it's not on low inventory. So the elegant border shapes or the border dies, this is what they look like when they are cut out. And then of course you would cut them off to fit your card base. Okay, so this is what they look like, and there's 4 different ones in here. and they are really pretty. They've got a lot of detail to them, but I wanted to show those to you because those are an online exclusive only. Don't know how long they'll be available, but that was something that I did want to mention to y'all today because I got that in as new product, and I wanted to show that to you. Okay, so this is the next card that we're going to make, and I believe we made one of these in our club last year. It's the quarter fold card, and I am using the Use of Happiness paper with this and the Use of Happiness stamp set. So I'm using Pool Party for my base. Then I use the brand new 3D embossing folders that comes in a set that's also one of the online exclusives. And this is a low inventory, but you have 3 different embossing folders, and they are the 3D. So the first one is the star shaped, or I call it the star shaped, and this is what it looks like when you emboss with it. Hopefully you can see that. Okay, then this is just dots. So this is what it would look like. Let me put it up against the blue paper and see if you can see it. Okay, so that just makes dots. And then the third one makes like, I don't know, different,
Swish mark.
yeah, swish marks, little lines, okay? I should have done a sample of each one of those, and I just didn't think about it. But I do like that star one, and it really added texture to the front of this card, I thought. And the first thing that we're going to do with this is we are going to cut our card base. And you do need to have 2 full sheets of your cardstock. So I have 2 pieces of Pool Party. Here is my trimmer, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it all in here with y'all with the camera. But along the 8.5 side, so along this edge here, I want to cut it at, I want to cut it with my 8.5 side going to my right. And I want to cut it at 5 3/8. So there is 5 3/8. So it's not quite a half a sheet. And we are going to score this now on at the 2 1/8. Get my cutting blade out of the way. So 2 1/8. And I'm just going to rotate my paper and do another 2 1/8 instead of going to the 6 3/8 mark. Okay, so 2 1/8 on each side. So then you have a piece of paper that looks like this. All right, our second piece of cardstock is going to be cut at 4 1/4 by 11. So we're going to cut it at the 8.5, put the 8.5 piece side up at the top, and we're going to cut that at 4 1/4. Okay, so there's our 4 1/4. Now we are going to score this piece at 2 3/4. Rotate our paper and score it again at 2 3/4. And we are done with our trimmer. So now you have this piece that when you burnish your edges or your score lines, you'll have one that looks like this and one that looks like this. Okay, so this piece is going to fit inside of this piece. So you're going to flip this over and you are going to put Karen tape on all four sides of this. You want to use the Tear and tape because it's a sturdy adhesive that will not, it shouldn't come loose, okay? I have decided that there is nothing that's guaranteed in this world.
Death and taxes.
Well, okay, death and taxes, those are both guarantees. But you want to really burnish your Tear and tape. And yes, it does tear, but I have been tearing not straight, so that's why I'm cutting mine so that it's a straight edge instead of a jaggedy edge. I have really missed being here with all of you on Thursdays. All right, so now we're just going to make sure that that's all burnished down real good. Here's a tip if you haven't seen it before. I don't take all of my backing off because that makes it harder for me to lift this up if I don't have it straight. So I just pull back part of it and fold it over. And I'm doing that with my Take Your Pick tool. This has got to be my favorite tool that I use all the time, no matter what kind of cards I'm making. All right, so now we have this piece. So we want the long flaps, one at the top and one at the bottom. So now we're going to lay this inside between our score lines of our card. And you want to make sure that you leave just a little bit, not a whole lot, but a little bit on both sides so that it gives it that ability to fold over. Okay, and once you know, so I'm just folding those in, so those are going to fold over nice. Now I can go ahead and remove the rest of my tear tape that easily. And this one. Okay, so now there is our card. To fold this, you're going to fold this flap over, this flap over, this flap up. Then you're going to take and lift the left corner up just a little bit and slide that flap in. Once I get that all done, what I do is I go back and I just burnish all of my edges while it's folded like that. All right. Sometimes you may have a little overlap. If that bothers you, trim it off. It doesn't bother me. Sometimes it's just the way the paper is scored and folded and all of that. So we're going to set this aside. The next thing that you need is your DSP paper. And for this, I use the Use of Happiness. That is such a pretty paper, and it will be retiring at the end of April. All right, now on the Use of Happiness, you have, it's double-sided, which makes it really nice. But we're going to use the flower side. So there is my two flower sides. Then on the other side, there was variegated. Well, this piece, this particular piece that I had, it wasn't very variegated, not like my one for my example, where it was variegated from the pool party into the fresh freesia. Okay, so we've got two pieces that are more pool party, and then the two pieces of the floral. So we're going to put one in that corner, and we're going to just alternate them just like that. So we're going to attach those to our card, and it is easier to attach these while the card is closed up because this is embossed with that star embossing folder. Sticky stuff on me. I use glue so that it really gets down into those grooves. because I don't want it coming off. So I'm going to lay this down. And we're going to decorate these two corners that are kind of simple. That's where our decorations are going to go. I try to have some of the intricate work already done so that it's not mundane for you guys to sit and watch me do things that most of you already know how to do. And if you don't know how to do it, drop me an email at suzieqstamping.gmail.com, and I will be more than happy to explain it to you or send you a video that will explain it more to you. Okay, like I said, the double-sided paper that I'm using for my plain pieces, it was not as variegated as my example piece, and I didn't have any. I used scraps for my example. I'm trying to use up scraps of paper so that I don't have all these little scraps laying around, and so that's why this one's not as variegated. So, and I just kind of line up my top and bottom for my corners. And you may have more on one side than you do on the other, but that's because of the way it's folded. There we go. Okay. So there we go. All right. Now, from our, got sticky fingers. From our, there's a new die set out, and it is called the Radiating Stitches. So here is the new Radiating Stitches dies. And so there's a circle that actually cuts out. This circle does not, but it embosses this design. I'm not sure if the heart, I think the heart punches out, but I'm not sure about these. I think they just emboss those designs on there. So that is really pretty. That is also an online exclusive. So I've gone ahead and die cut my circle and typed hello there. And that is from the Peekaboo stamp set. Peekaboo, well, I know it's from the Peekaboo stamp set. I'm almost sure. I know what it is. Yes, the Peekaboo farm stamps. I don't know what I did with it. It was in my box. But it's got a really cute, here it is. It's got a really cute hey there or hello there. So I really like that. I thought it just kind of was whimsical. So I'm using that hello there for my die cut. And I am just, you could use dimensionals and pop this up. I am not. I'm just laying it flat. Okay. And now I did a flower. I stamped a little bunch of flowers in Memento Black. That's my inside. I don't want to use it. Where is, here's a piece of scratch paper, or I had a little tiny piece here. Don't know what happened to it. And I did this. I stamped it off once. Oops, that was too much. Stamped it off once, and then I stamped it on my scrap paper. And I am taking my Wink Stella pen, wherever I stuck it at. There it goes. Wink of Stella is another product that is Wink of Stella that is on low inventory. So if you use your Wink of Stella a lot, you may want to think about getting that. Because one thing that I really hate is whenever I'm wanting something and I can't get it right away. And I'm going to take a block. I'm going to cover up my glue. And I am going to color in my bunch of flowers using my Wink of Stella pen. So I just put a little bit of ink. And this is Gorgeous Grape. And I just move that ink around. Can you see that? And then I'm going to kind of dab it off because I don't want them real dark. And I'm just going to come in and like a paintbrush, paint those flowers. And this is one way to give your design some shimmer. Okay, so you get the gist. And then I used my Evening Evergreen. And I did the same thing for my leaves. And again, you don't want it too dark. So then I just came in where the leaves were. And I just kind of filled in those leaves. And then I filled in my inside of my flowers with my green. Okay. So very simple, easy way to give your cards that sparkle that so many of you like. And I love doing it with my inks because then it's just coloring at the same time as giving it their shimmer effect. Okay. Just stuck my finger in the Evening Evergreen. All right. We have one more thing of stamping to do, and that is on the inside of our card. I went ahead and you would just lay this die down just like so. And this piece, which is just a scrap, would cut both my circle and my flower bunch. Okay, so I know everybody has tons of scraps. All right, here is our inside piece. We are going to lay down this piece here. And I don't know why I put that away because I'm not finished with it. And our Gorgeous Grape. And we are using the sentiment that says, wishing you all the happiness you can imagine. So we're going to stamp that down. And I really should have my stamp mat. Okay. All right. Hopefully I can get this straight on the first try. Looks good. Now we're going to take this piece and we're going to glue it down. And I'm going to use my glue. And it's cut longer than what I need, which is fine. It was just a scrap that I had. So I'm just going to lay it down at the bottom. From one side to the other and all the way matched up with the bottom. Oops. I like using liquid glue because then I can kind of shift it if I need to. Sometimes I don't notice it until it's too late and I can't shift it. Then I'm just trimming off the edge. Make sure that edge has got some glue on it. Sometimes it doesn't because you don't want to get it too close to the edge. All right. Then for the inside flower, I took a piece of scratch paper and I put it over my strip because I didn't want my little flower stem to really be showing a whole lot. This I did stamp in the Gorgeous Grape. So right on the edge of that, I'm going to stamp it so that it looks like it's coming out of that strip that happens to look like grass. Some of it's dead grass, some of it's green grass. And we're going to Wink Estella that just like we did before. I should have done that before I wiped it off, huh? Now, because I'm using the purple and not the black, I want to make sure I don't get too overzealous and go outside my purple lines, because then it's just going to kind of bleed out and smear, and I don't want that to happen. So I don't know if y'all can see me coloring here. Things have certainly changed since I started back in 2001, because I didn't like to color. And now I've learned the simplicity that I can do with coloring, which kind of makes it nice. Coloring still is not my favorite thing to do. However, I have succumbed to it and will do it when necessary. And I just think that having these little flowers colored in is necessary. So there is our Gorgeous Grape. And now let me get just a little tiny bit of the Evening Evergreen. You don't need a whole lot because you're not coloring in a huge area. It's just basically giving it some green color here. And you could do this in any colors that you want. I'm just going to dot the center of my flowers. Give it a little bit of a green tinge. Okay, so we've got that done. That done. And here is our die cut bunch of flowers that we're going to put on the front of our card. And that we're going to put on with some dimensionals. And I've still got just some dimensional strip here that I'm going to use. And that's like way too big, Sue. That'll fit. And that way I've used up that adhesive sheet that I had for the okay. And that is going to go down here on the bottom of this corner. We're going to open up our card, and we're going to lay this piece on the inside. And see how easy that is? The most difficult part is getting in your head where you have to cut and score your cardstock to make that quarter fold card where it folds in on all four sides. But look how springy that looks. It doesn't have to necessarily be for a birthday. Okay, so down, over, up, and tuck under. There we go. There's card number 2. I don't even know what time it's getting to be. I'm probably running way over today. I'm going to have to start making simpler cards and not so tricky ones, which is really kind of hard for me. I really like making the fun folds and things like that, but I'm going to have to leave that for where I just make one card in a video and not 3. That I still need. Don't need this. And this is the Use of Happiness stamp set that I use. So this was the bunch of flowers. And then this is the stamp set, or the inside greeting that I used. All right, our third card and final card. It's not a trick card. It's an easy card. I know you think I say that about all of them, but they really are easy. It's a matter of how you look at them and not think, oh, I can't do that, because everybody can. And they're not that hard. Okay. Get rid of all these little bits that I don't need to get mixed up with other stuff. And this one does not have a whole lot of stamping to it at all. Oops. All right, a few weeks ago, you may remember that I did a Tuesday tip technique type thing, and that is where I was showing you how I'm doing my dies. I'm not caught up. I need to do some more, but this is my layering circles that I cut out and then I numbered. Now, someone told me that I numbered them backwards, but I didn't number them backwards for me. I numbered them backward. I numbered them the way I want them to be numbered. But that's okay. Everybody has their own numbering system. So I am using, for this particular card, I am using the number 4 circle die. Okay, so if I get all of my plain circle dies out here, not the ones with the scallop, just the plain ones. Those are all my scallops. Okay, my dies, the largest one is number 1. The second largest is 2, then 3, and then 4, 5, 6, and 7. So it's kind of like how they're stacked up. Like if you remember those old baby toys that had the rings, like the plastic donuts, and they had a little stand that you would stack them up on. Well, the biggest one, I believe it was red. I don't know. It was always the biggest one, and that was the number 1 ring. And then you went to number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, and then the very last one. So that's kind of how I have it in my head when I've numbered these. So this is the number 4, which is the 3rd largest die, or the 4th smallest die, whichever way you'd want to look at it. Okay, so these really help me out to know when I'm placing pieces, if it's going to fit on my other die that I have, or how I can stack them up and layer them. So that's really helped me a lot with my layering dies. All right, and I've already got those cut out, or I've already got it cut out. I do like to try to save some time and not do die cutting if I don't have to. We are going to be using another stamp set that is an online exclusive, and it says it's called Growth Takes Time. So you have these 2 trees, a little bud, some leaves, and a little watering can, and then you have some really nice sentiments. Okay, see if I can get it to where it's not got such a glare on it. But there we go. Had to let my Facebook catch up with me. All right, and we are using it with the Rain or Shine paper. All right, now the paper and the bundle are available right now. I don't know how long they will be available, because when they said that they were going to be available on Monday the 13th, and when I went in there, they were not available. But today, when I went into my website, they were available, and I was really excited. So this is the paper for the Rain or Shine. So that's one side, and that's the back of it. I love this paper because it's got the little animals, and when I get my die set and my stamp set, the dies will cut these little animals out. So I'm excited about that. And then it's got the pink stripe on the back of that. This one here, and this also has, it's like a, I don't want to call it a plastic coating, but there's a coating over it that gives it dimension. So that's really kind of cool. So that's the front side. And then there's some raindrops on the back. Here's a sheet that's nothing but raindrops. So it's really storming here. And then on the back of that, it's just some polka dots. I used a piece of this umbrella paper today for this card. So this is just a big 12 by 12 sheet of nothing but umbrellas. And then on the other side, it's these flowers. Okay. Here's another piece that's got more gray, stormy feel to it with the raindrops. And on the back of that, it's got pink flowers. So this is a really cute spring set. And like I said, it is now back in stock. And it comes with the stamp set and the die set. And it's called Rain or Shine. Rain or Shine. So it's a really cute set. I should have ordered it a long time ago. I just didn't. All right. Oh, there they are. I had to find my bits. I had to take a drink. All right. But I wanted to show you that even if you don't have the Rain or Shine stamp set bundle, that you could still use that paper with other things that have to do with gardening or flowers or other kind of animals. Okay, so this is the card we're going to make today that says growth takes time. Be patient, your time will come. All right, this is also using and I got it wrote down here so that I wouldn't forget it, I will tell you in a minute, the decorative circle punch, which looks like this. Okay, I don't know which way shows it better, this way or this way. Okay, so that's in
that way we can see your smile.
You can see my smile. Yeah, you can see me. That one I believe is in the main catalog, the annual catalog, which, let me remind everybody, this is a very sad time of year for me because we're getting a new catalog, which means a lot of my products that I have will no longer be available, which means I can no longer show them to you. But what I do and I'm excited about is that we're getting brand new product. Yay! And, oh my gosh, my hands are not working today. So both the mini and the annual catalog will go out at the end of April. And our new catalog will begin I'm wanting to say May 2nd, but watch for an email in the next couple of weeks. I am going to, as soon as I get the discontinued list and the things that are carrying over, I will forward that to all of you. And I will also be deciding at that time what stamp set or bundle we will be using for our springtime, product class that I usually have in the spring. Okay, I don't want to choose a stamp set right now that may be going out. I would much rather wait and choose a stamp set that's going to stay in for the next year. So that's what my plan is. Okay, so be watching for the discontinued list and the carryover list. So this is, for this card, we're using Melon Mambo. I'm sorry, Melon Mambo is pink. This is Mango Melody. It's orange, a nice, cheery, sunny spring color. It's at 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. Then we have a piece that is Mango Melody that measures 1 1/4 inches by 4.5 inches. We have a piece of designer series paper. Now this paper is actually, it comes like this. All right, you have this whole 12 by 12 sheet that shows both the clouds and the flowers at the bottom. I cut off the flowers to a certain size, and then I cut off the clouds because we're going to layer these. Okay, now if you wanted to save paper, you could most definitely cut this piece in half. I wanted to just not have to make that many cuts. So this piece does measure the 4 by 5 1/4. This piece of DSP measures 4 by 2 1/4. Then I have a piece that is going to lay on this Mango Melody, and that's that back side of the umbrellas. It's the flowers. That's 1 inch by 4 1/2 inches. I used a piece of scrap for my punch, from my decorative circle punch. Here is my number 4 layering circle die. I have another piece of the designer series paper. It was basically just a scrap. That's 3/4 of an inch by 4 inches. And that's going to go along the bottom of our inside white piece that measures 4 by 5 1/4. So that's going to go in there like that. Then I took another piece of scrap Mango Melody, and using the basic border dies, which is in the annual catalog, I took the zigzag. How many of you remember the rickrack that we used to sew with? And I cut it off. All right. So that gave me one piece that I used for my example card, but it also left me this side. And then I just cut this down, and this could probably be cut down a little bit thinner, and we may do that. I don't know. All right, so let's do our stamping first. So on our circle, we are going to stamp the small tree, and we're doing that in Old Olive, because Old Olive is one of the colors that coordinates with this paper pack. And I am going to use this, I think I used the 2nd generation, maybe I used the 3rd. Let's see here. There's 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. I think I used the 3rd. So there's, get up, 1, 2, and 3. So there's our tree. And that had a piece of paper on it. So we're going to flip this over because there is no stitching or anything on this one. So I can use the back side of it, since that had picked up a piece of dimensional backing. Hello, Cherie. It's quite all right that you're late. I'm just glad that you joined us today. So here is our stamp off image with the 3rd generation. Okay. You'll get to see all 3 of the cards at the end. Now we're going to take, let's see, do I need that again? Yes, I do. I need that tree stamped in the Old Olive on the inside for our big one. And I'm just going to kind of judge where my tree is going to need to go using my strip of paper. And this one I did also, I think I did this one in 2nd generation because I wanted it a little bit darker. So that's 1st gen. And now we're going to slide it over here and do our 2nd gen. We're going to do it right about there, and the whole thing does not get put on, but I have one branch that kind of goes off. Okay, so there is our tree on the inside. Okay, so we're done with our Old Olive ink. Now with our Mango Melody, we are going to stamp our greeting on the inside, which says, Be patient, your time will come. How many of us are always so impatient for things to happen? We just kind of wish our lives away. We wish, we wish, we wish. And this one just kind of goes over one of those little branches just a slight bit. There we go. Oh, and I got a halo on there. Doggone it. Let me see if my eraser will take that off of there. I'm going to let that dry before I try to erase that. We'll come back to that. We'll go ahead and glue our piece of paper down. And we want to glue it just that it's kind of touching the, I think that is cut. It is cut a little bit funny. Let me grab my trimmer. I think sometimes my eyes plays tricks on me. And I'm going to trim that down just a tad bit. Yeah, it's just, we're going to take it down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/8 of an inch instead of the 3/4. Because it's just a little bit crooked, and I didn't like the way you could actually see how crooked it was. That still looks crooked, Sue. I may have to get another piece. Okay. We're going to grab another piece because that still looks crooked to me. The one thing I can't stand is a crooked piece of paper. And it's not like I don't have more scraps. So I have another piece of paper here. It is, oh, good deal, 4 inches. So now we're going to cut off our 3/4 of an inch. I'm going to cut that off to make sure that it is a good straight cut. Sometimes if I cut my paper crooked to start with, it just keeps cutting crooked. 3/4 of an inch. I don't know how many of you all that happens to, but I like this one anyway better because it shows more of the flowers. All right, let's get this laid down. You could even use the checkered on the back if you wanted to.
Try this before you lay it down. That way, if you have to.
That's true. All right. Good point. Let's try to erase that ink with my stone eraser. See how well we can do that. It sometimes works and sometimes it doesn't, but it's working. No more halo. Yay. Okay. I don't know what the temperature is outside, but oh my gosh, my room is sweltering today. I'm going to have to get another fan in here besides the ceiling fan. And now I'm just going to take, and that really has some sky to it, but it's not going to matter. We're going to do it anyway and lay it down. Just like so. There's just a tad bit hangover. Not probably even enough for anybody to notice but me. Okay, clip that off. All right, so that's ready to go on the inside of our card. Get that part done. So, Cherie, got any big plans for St. Patrick's Day? You gonna eat corned beef and cabbage? We normally have corned beef and cabbage. However, this year we will not be. Mom doesn't feel good, and I'm not going to be home to fix it. And the girls and I and Dorothy and our other mom, we're ordering pizza. So, okay, that's done. Now let's go ahead and let's finish our stamping. And that's with the Mango Melody that says, growth takes time. And that we're going to stamp. So where are you having corned beef and cabbage on Saturday, Cherie? Growth takes time goes right over our little tree. Just like that. Okay. We are done with our Mango Melody. We're going to attach our strip. Your house. Who all are you having at your house for corned beef and cabbage on Saturday? That used to be my dad's favorite meal. He couldn't wait. That was his birthday meal all the time. And Friday will be fish, huh? For his birthday, he always wanted corned beef and cabbage because his birthday was on the 15th. However, when Mr. Noah came along, Mr. Noah didn't like corned beef and cabbage, and my dad couldn't understand how a boy born in March, 2 days before St. Patrick's Day, didn't like corned beef and cabbage. I don't think it was the corned beef he didn't like so much, it was the cabbage. But now I think he eats cabbage, but not fixed that way. He likes cabbage grilled on his grill. He's become quite a grill connoisseur. So here I am just putting down my whole piece of my cloud background paper, which I'm not worried about covering it up because I have more. Now I'm going to lay this piece down. No, I'm not. Yes, I am. But I am going to leave the top part. I'm not adhering that down because we are going to slip our little border into it. Okay, make sure my flower stems are going the right direction. I don't want them going upside down. So we're going to line that right up with that other DSP paper. Okay, now we're going to tuck this piece in. And it's going to need to be trimmed off. So let's see where I need to trim it at. Okay, just right about in the center of that. Pull that out, grab my good scissors, and snip that right there so that both ends have a point on it. And it's your choice how much of this border you want showing. So now that we have that, now we're going to glue that down. And I'm just, see what I'm doing? I'm just kind of folding it back over. And I'm just going to stick down my decorative border there. Only a little bit of that shows anyway, but that didn't get stuck down as much as the other side did. You know, sometimes things go very well and sometimes things don't go very well. Don't ask me why. Much better. Much, much better. Okay. Now we're going to lay our other piece of layered paper down. I'm getting all of this stuff done because The next part, y'all know I'm not going to like it because it's fussy cut. All right, so now I've got that part laid down. Now we're going to attach this. To our layer. And you notice I have a space right here. Well, I've left that on purpose. Now, we're not going to stick that there yet because that's going to go on dimensionals. We have this lovely little watering can. Here's where the fussy cutting comes in. So we are going to color it really quick, and we are going to fussy cut it even quicker. So there is our watering can. I am using Old Olive Light and Melon Mango Light. So get on my glasses so that I can see a little bit better and it's not just blurred. And we are coloring the watering can. And I'm not even using the dark one to do my shading. I'm just going to use the light one and go back over it. And I'm leaving the heart white on the inside because we're going to do that with Mango Melody. So there is the first layer of our light Old Olive. Do our handle. Do our spigot, whatever it's called, spout. Okay. While we let that dry, I'm going to color in the heart, the Mango Melody. Okay. And I am not too worried about shading that heart. It's too tiny. And all I'm going to do to add shading to this is I'm just going to come in right over where the stamp has it. And then I'm just putting a little bit on that left side and here on that spigot. Okay, that looks good. It's got enough shading for me. Now I have got me a very tiny pair of scissors that I think I can control better. We're going to cut off any of this excess paper and we're going to start to fussy cut. And like I said, fussy cutting and coloring were not my fortes before I started being a demonstrator. I would do everything in my power not to color and not to fussy cut. That's why I love the dies that match the stamps. But there are times when you do have a very cute stamp, such as this, that you need to fussy cut. And I'm just going to kind of round this around. And see, I think one of the reasons that I don't like fussy cutting is I don't think I made a very good grade in kindergarten, you know, when you had to cut around those shapes, around those dotted lines. To me, that was stupid. So I didn't pay much attention to it. There's a lot of things in school I thought was stupid. Algebra was another one. However, as I've gotten older, I've learned a little bit better how to do algebra, and I can actually understand why you have to use it. When I was younger, I didn't have any clue. So, all right, so now we're just going to kind of come around this side, and we're going to go in a circular thing. And I know some of you guys just love to fussy cut. You must have liked cutting out paper dolls. I didn't like cutting out paper dolls either. I didn't like cutting. Didn't like cutting material either. I wanted to be able to just have it done. All right, so now we have our little watering can. We have our greeting. Our greeting is going to go up on dimensionals. So here I have my dimensionals. I take your pick tool. And I'm putting 5 dimensionals on my circle here so that I have it more or less balanced, one on each side and one there in the center. Take them all off. Can you tell this is a brand new package? I didn't get even to put my lines across them. And now I'm just going to lay that, stick that down. And now for my little watering can, I'm going to put a dimensional on just the can. And the big one will fit. And then I'm going to put a little bit of glue here on where that water is. And that's going to stick right like that. So it looks like it's watering. Now I'm going to take some of our brushed brass butterflies. I love these. I hope they keep these in the catalog because these are such a wonderful embellishment. I'm going to put a big butterfly down here in that space. I'm going to take a little butterfly and put it here. And another little butterfly and put it up here. So let me get all of this stuff moved out of the way. And I will bring in the 3 cards that we made today. Okay. This paper is all nasty now. All right, so let's fold this one up again. Top one goes down, this goes over. Oh, I know what I forgot I got to put on here, on this one, on mine, for y'all, because this is mine. I got to get yours. Oops. There we go. All right, I have to, where did I put that bunch of stuff that I had for that card? I am using some of those loose frosted dots, and these will be back in stock in May. And what I did for these was I used my take your pick tool, but I used the putty side. I kind of decided where I wanted them. So I wanted one over here, and I put down just a dab of glue. And I think I'm going to use a pink one because I think it'll show up good. And I'm going to get it to where it's got the curvature. There we go. The curvature on the front. And I'm going to lay it down there, push it down with my finger. We're going to put one over here. Do the same thing. And I think over here, I think we're going to do a pink one again. And these come in different sizes, so there's a couple of different sizes. You've got small and large ones. So there's that one. And now I think I'm going to put one right here in that black center of that flower. And that one I'm going to use a green one because it's a yellow flower. So I'm going to flip that one over, pick it up with my putty, lay that down. Okay. So there was card number 2 that we made. I knew I was forgetting my embellishments with that. All right, card number 2. My table is sticky. This was card number 1, which was our lighthouse faux step card. So that's card number 1, card number 2, and then this was card number 3. So this is a fun fold. It sets up like so. This is a fun fold. It opens up on the 4 corners. Okay, Gives you plenty of room to write. Folding it back in and just lifting up that little corner. And then we have the growth takes time. So let me know which card is your favorite for this week. Don't forget, share my videos either on YouTube or my Facebook. Share it. Go out and grab your free project sheet that will be posted later on this evening on my blog that will give you the measurements. It will not give you detailed instructions, but if you watch the video, you should be able to get the directions on how you put the cards together. Okay. I've been kind of told that maybe I go into too much detail, so I'm trying to cut down on that. Okay. So yes, one is very interesting, Cherie. It's very easy to make too. So watch the full video and you'll be able to get that. And like I said, the measurements for the dimensions on cutting the paper will be posted later tonight on my blog with the free project sheet. Okay. So until next week, ladies, you all have a great St. Patrick's Day. Have a safe weekend. Don't get into too much trouble with the St. Patrick's Day leprechauns. Okay. And we will see you then next Thursday for another episode of 3 on Thursday. Don't forget, Tuesday I will post another technique for you for a background. So that ought to be fun. I've already got one in mind that I'm going to show you how to do, and it's going to be kind of another messy one. So until next week, everybody, bye. Remember, do what you love and love what you do. Y'all have a great week.